Today I'm going to talk about finding our true self in the midst of anger. So I grew up with the idea that to be a good girl, I would never be angry. So whenever anger came up, two things came up: anger and guilt. The guilt would keep the anger suppressed until when it finally came out, it was usually not in a particularly helpful form, and was in a less mature form because I had practiced so few times really understanding my anger. Then came the day when I was in a relationship where I was being accused over and over of things that I didn't do. And anger came staring me right in the face. It was time to deal with my anger. So I took some time alone and sat quietly in the park, feeling rage, pure rage, the rage that I had been afraid to feel, that emotion I thought was awful. For surely it meant I was a bad person, a dangerous person, a feeling I should never have and certainly not express. And I let that rage course from the tip of my toes to the top of my head, out my fingertips and out my ears. Rage. And I got familiar with the feeling. It felt explosive. It felt hot. It felt fast and furious. And then I started letting go of my judgment about it and letting it expand even more. And then it's changed. It wasn't as explosive, it was more expansive. It actually started emanating out of all of my body, giving me so much energy I felt I could do anything. I felt that, and it felt alive and vibrant and vigorous. Not that I was ready to trust it, but I started to like it. And then I played with it more. What other things could I like about it? I liked how powerful it made me feel, invigorated. I liked how it could look at something and say no. I liked how it wouldn't believe a lie. I liked how it wouldn't go along with anything that it didn't want. And then I checked to see, was it dangerous? Was it going to go and hurt somebody? Was it going to create problems and havoc that I didn't want? And I felt deep inside me, and I felt no. The level of anger that would do that, if that exists, wasn't in me. The guilt was perhaps more dangerous because the guilt wanted somebody else to feel guilty too. The guilt seemed actually less trustworthy than the anger. So I made a contract with my anger. I would pay attention to it early on because I wanted its help saying no. And I would express it firmly, but not aggressively. And I felt the difference in my body. Firmly said, that is not for me. Aggressively said, you can't do that. I really wasn't into the you can't do it. I just wanted the It is not from me. So then I practiced. And the next time the accusations came, well, I wasn't the best right at first. I got teary-eyed like always. I said that isn't true. But then I felt the power rushing through me, and I knew it wasn't true. I knew my anger was telling the truth. And I looked at the person talking to me, and the anger knew. He didn't know what he was talking about. And no longer was I worried about telling him, you can't do that. Instead, I just stood firmly in, that is not from me. I don't believe that. And if you want to discuss it later, we can. And the conversation ended. Wow. It felt so much better. I kept practicing. Each time I caught it earlier, each time my that is not from me came with more weight and less fire, until I could calmly say, that's not how it happened, and when you're ready to discuss it, we can discuss it. And suddenly, and over time, more and more compassion came up for this person who was clearly lost in some hurtful dialogue that kept repeating itself. Because I was certain where I was and had no obligation to be anywhere else, my anger had allowed me that. I had much more space for compassion. And over, the anger became more gentle, more firm, more grounded. When it just started to arise, I thought, oh, there's my reminder, that's not for me. And I could say it so easily and so certainly that our conversations got more and more compassionate as I understood the pain he was experiencing and the way his mind kept convoluting the situations. Finally, the situation with him resolved. And what remained with me was a friendship with my anger. A friendship where there was no guilt, where the first flares of anger showed me something that wasn't for me, and where the aggression and guilt had gone away. I became grateful that my ability to say no had been there all along. Grateful that I was a good person. And grateful that I could trust the flow of each motion that arose. The true self was using all of me to show me where to go and where not to go. And my resistance being removed could yield with the necessary gentle and firmness to be authentic and compassionate.